If you manage a criminal enterprise, your most immediate problem is not law enforcement, it is liquidity. You have massive pallets of physical cash, but the global economy operates on digital ledgers. This diagram illustrates the structural bottleneck, a $10 million influx of physical currency hitting the automated thresholds of the banking system. Any direct attempt to digitize this capital in bulk is instantly flagged by a hard limit set at $10,000. Bypassing these automated controls requires precise structural engineering. You cannot simply hide the money, you have to meticulously dismantle it. Because modern financial frameworks are mathematically programmed to reject large volumes of unverified liquidity, operators are forced to construct a sophisticated bypass architecture to survive. To successfully process a $10 million cash influx, the underworld relies on a strict three-phase methodology. First is placement, the tactical, undetected entry of physical cash into the banking system. Second is layering, generating extreme transaction velocity to obscure the money's origin from forensic audits. Finally, integration, the conversion of that obscured capital into legally defensible physical assets. These three stages systematically exploit distinct vulnerabilities: the predictable algorithms of domestic banks, the non-cooperative nature of international law, and the highly subjective valuations of global markets. The operation begins here, at the retail commercial bank. This is the primary point of entry for illicit capital. The immediate barrier is the Currency Transaction Report, or CTR. Federal law mandates that banks automatically generate a CTR for any single deposit exceeding $10,000, alerting authorities instantly. To defeat the CTR tripwire, the capital must be fractured. As shown in this diagram, the $10 million block is shattered into 1,052 distinct microdeposits. This mathematical solution is known as structuring. Notice how a specific transaction value of $9,500 slips cleanly beneath the federal threshold, entirely avoiding automated detection. This exact deposit must be executed 1,052 times. Depositing 1,000 identical amounts into a single account would trigger pattern recognition algorithms. To survive, these deposits must be diffused across multiple institutions. The structured deposits are funneled into these 8 distinct nodes. These represent domestic pass-through entities, typically anonymous LLCs registered in states like Wyoming or Delaware. These shell accounts act as empty digital receptacles, providing the initial legal framework to hold the structured cash. The $10 million is now digitized, but the architecture remains highly vulnerable. 8 empty shell companies are suddenly holding massive capital reserves without generating a product or service. The money must move immediately to survive an audit. This map introduces the layering phase. The objective here is to generate rapid, chaotic transaction velocity to blind forensic accountants. The domestic LLCs begin executing wire transfers among themselves. They justify this movement with fabricated business-to-business rationales, invoicing each other for non-existent consulting fees or phantom shipping contracts. Because domestic movement is easily subpoenaed, the network must utilize jurisdictional arbitrage, exploiting international borders to build legal firewalls. The capital is routed offshore to foreign bulking centers like Cyprus, where international data sharing requests can stall law enforcement investigations for months or even years. To completely sever the trail of beneficial ownership, a secondary offshore jump is executed. The layered funds are transferred into a real estate trust based in Panama, locking the capital behind severe corporate secrecy laws. By passing the capital through overlapping, non-cooperative international jurisdictions, the origin of the cash is scrubbed. The money is now an untraceable financial ghost. The final challenge is integration. The untraceable capital must re-enter the domestic economy as legally defensible taxable revenue. The first method for achieving this is the high-interest corporate loan, often called the loan-back method. The Panamanian Trust issues a formal business loan back to a domestic shell company, which uses the influx of cash to purchase commercial real estate, like a strip mall. The dirty money has purchased a clean asset. A second prominent vector is trade-based laundering, a system that exploits the massive volume of international shipping and supply chains. Operators fabricate international trade invoices for vast shipments of goods that never actually exist. A domestic shell company might pay $5 million to a Mexican distributor for a massive agricultural export, like avocados. The produce never ships, but the executed invoice allows the raw cash to be legally reclassified as legitimate U.S. business revenue. The third integration vector relies on subjective asset valuation. Operators exploit unregulated global markets where pricing is arbitrary. A rapid short-term version of this occurs in casinos. Associates walk in with illicit cash, gamble briefly, and cash out their chips for a clean, verified check. But the ultimate vehicle for massive single-transaction capital integration is the fine art market. A low-level associate purchases a painting in cash. Weeks later, a private offshore collector, which is secretly just an affiliated shell company, purchases that same piece at auction for an astronomical markup. These pipelines fully integrate the capital. The illicit origin is erased, and the funds are legally defended under the classification of art appreciation or real estate equity. Looking at this completed architectural model, you can see the sheer complexity of the network. It successfully defeats automated compliance systems, but it introduces an entirely new vulnerability. This system requires absolute, flawless human execution at every single node. A minor error in this high-velocity environment triggers irreversible collapse. Consider a typo on a $2 million wire to Cyprus. That mistake forces the receiving bank to flag the transaction. A compliance officer sees the empty shell companies and the network freezes. The digital obfuscation shatters, exposing the entire underlying shell network to federal forensic investigators. For the financial architect who connected these entities, the only survival option is an immediate, one-way flight to a non-extradition sanctuary. Bypassing federal algorithms is entirely possible, but maintaining a perfect, error-free human system to sustain that bypass is a mathematical impossibility.